How's it going, everybody? It's Matt again, and today we're going to take a look at the third of DreamStar Toys Devastator or Constructicon MP scale bots. These are kind of like the very stylized version, kind of IDW-ish, I guess. Constructicons. This is DST02-003 Load Warrior, or their long haul. If you've watched my other videos or you've really know anything about these guys, I have been very impressed with these so far. The other two members that we already have Hook and we have Scrapper, have been very good. So let's see if this guy is just as good. So there it is from the front. It's a pretty decent sized box. It's a pretty big figure. There it is from the side, and here it is from the back. It's upside down. There it is from the back. Obviously he's him, and then he turns into the dump truck, and then he's going to be the lower torso and thighs for Devastator. But yeah, decent sized box. Let's get that out of the way. And here we have the instructions. It's a nice booklet instructions. I like booklets. Nice CAD renders for the pictures, and it's actually pretty decent instructions. So yeah, good little instruction booklet. But here he is. And he is a pretty decent size. Let me pan this down a little bit. He's a decent sized dump truck. Yeah, very nice paint. The exact same metallic green and purple that has been on the other figures so far, with a nice little gray accents and clear red plastic for the windows and headlights and such. But there's from the back. The bed of the dump truck actually fills out pretty nice too. I like how it has like this great work kind of look in the back. I will say the one thing that I do not like about this is these rear wheels. I do not like the way that those look. I wish they would have kind of punched out like the front wheels do. And it doesn't look that bad from the side. It doesn't even look that bad from the front. But when you look at it from the back, look at that. Ugh. And from the bottom, does not look good, in my opinion. I do not like the way that they did these back wheels. If they had like done it in a way where they could flip around and then have both of these parts be on the outside, it would have looked way better, in my opinion. But they are rubber wheels, all of them individual, separate. It does roll very well, if that matters to you. But yeah, very beautifully painted figure. He is going to come with some accessories. He actually does have storage. I'll go ahead and show. There's storage for his gun back here. You just kind of pop it off of these pegs, and then you can pull it out. And then there is his robot mode gun. This part flips up, and it reveals the handle. And then I'll show all the different places that you can plug this in on him when he's in his bot mode. But yeah, so he does have storage for his gun, which is pretty nice. He's also going to come with all of these pieces. So these are all the different parts for his big axe. I don't know if there's anything that you can do with these parts in particular when he's in his dump truck mode, but these parts, the blade parts, you can plug into the sides of this for storage if you wanted to keep them there. But you can also make his giant axe. So this part here, you're going to want to take this part and insert it into, oh, actually, no, that's not right. It's this way. Put that on there, and then you put this part on there. I don't know why it collapsed. There we go. You want to put this part on like that, and then it can collapse and extend. And then the two sides of the axe, you'll just put like so. And there's probably a whole bunch of different orientations and ways that you can do this thing if you wanted to have some crazy thing. Obviously this extends, and it's just a big axe weapon, which is pretty cool. But set that aside, because we get one more thing. We get this. This is going to be the front kind of crotch plate for Devastator when it transforms. But it is the next part for our Build-A-Figure that we've been getting with the other figures. I actually think that the first part of it was included with Hook. I don't think any of it was included with Scrapper. But this is going to be the waist section for the Megatron. And let me see, here is what we have so far. This is what we got with Hook. This is just the upper half. So now we have the waist section, and we're going to be waiting on the legs, which I believe we're going to be getting with the other members. But to mount it, you're just going to take this little purple part and open it up, and then that little mushroom peg is just going to slide in there, and then put that purple part back up, and there we go. We have about 70% of a Megatron, which is pretty cool. I don't know if one of them is going to come with a gun or any accessories with them, but yeah, it's pretty cool that they're doing this at least. I do like that. All right, so let's get into transformation. Okay, so to transform him, let's start off from here. So these two panels here, you're just going to kind of lift these up, get them out of the way. We're going to take these two panels right here, lift these up from either side, and fold them over. These things right here, you're going to unplug from that little peg right there. Sorry if there's a lot of background noise, there's a lot going on here. These are going to unpeg from there. And then this whole section here, there are two pegs right here, and then there are two pegs right here. You're going to unplug both of these, and then pull off on this to unplug this section. And now this whole section here will pull away on kind of this double hinge joint, and then you're going to bring it kind of back up like this and just kind of have it sat aside, kind of loose. So let's do the legs down here. So you're going to pull this apart off of this middle panel right here. Just separate everything off of this. And then this whole section here is going to flip up, that'll flip down, and this will flip back up against what will be his butt panel. And then the rear here, these panels, you need to take this part here, undo that clip, undo this clip, flip that forwards, flip that down. And then this whole section here is going to unplug from this, and then this is going to flip up kind of on this wheel section here. And then this whole section is going to come down on this hinge like this until it's kind of flush against this side. I know this part's kind of confusing with all this stuff. And then this foot section here is going to need to come down on that ratchet, and it's going to need to flip just the foot section, so the kind of combiner joint. So you don't want it to use the ratchet, you want to just use kind of like this real tight joint here, so you kind of have to hold with your thumb to get it to move, but it's real tight. This part, get up out of the way. And then this toe section is going to lift up and then flip down this double joint and peg back in down here. So this whole section here, you want to push up because you want it to try to line up, and this section needs to come up like this. So basically this triple joint here, you need to flip this down and then flip this peg in, and it'll go right onto this post right here. Like, come on. It can be kind of a pain to get everything aligned. There we go. So it goes in on that hole, and then it flips around and pegs in on the other side on that hole. So then now basically the foot will just come up, and then you want, so the objective here is to kind of get this part like here, and then this green part will tab into this section, locking that into place. And this has to be oriented in a way, so see how it has to be angled in a certain spot so that you can peg in that, right like that. That's how you want it. And the thing that kind of limits everything is it's really tight joint here, and then this part for the combiner port is ratcheted, so it makes it kind of convoluted to get everything where it needs to be. But now it is where it is, and then this will just kind of come down like this, and then this knee part will come down and just kind of peg in on that panel right here. And then these will both just kind of come down. That'll come down and it'll peg into this panel here. Kind of like this. And actually, I have this foot wrong. You don't want it in there. You want it in there. So bring it back down. So then it pegs into the second one. I had it in the wrong slot. So now it should look like this. Like that. And then basically these panels, this will just flip in like this, peg in right there. This will flip down. And then this panel will close in and lock everything together like that. Kind of weird how everything moves, but it leads to a really solid foot, or leg rather. So let's do it all again. So this part, flip that up, flip this panel out, flip that up, that. We're gonna go ahead and pull this toe section down, get that out of the way. Oh, and I did forget one thing. This panel right here, you need to flip this part down and then it'll plug in to that, even more locking everything in. I did forget that. So undo that, lift this up until it plugs into that port, flip it around, plug in on the other side like this, and then unplug from here, flip this whole section down, bring this whole section down, plug it into that post, knee comes down, plugs in there, this comes down, that goes up, and now we just gonna have to finagle this into the right orientation, right like this, put that together, and then this flips around, plugs in there, and flips around, plugs in there. And there we have the legs. Pretty nice. And then the little front skirts, just kind of arrange those, get those out of the way. Let me raise up the camera. Let's do the upper half. So this whole section here, you're just going to kind of take this out, rotate it around, kind of get it out of the way. These tiny little posts here, you're going to pull these down on that hinge, bring them down. This front section here is attached here, here, and in the middle. So you're going to pull off of those two hinges and lift that whole thing up. And then you're going to close these panels in. From here, you're going to pull these two panels off like this, and they'll fall to the side. Just kind of bring them down for now. This grill section you're going to lift up and plug into the top of that panel. And then this whole panel you're going to lift up off of here. It's going to come around. You're going to kind of, I think you just kind of have to rotate this whole thing around like so. You kind of want it to all be like this. It has to kind of go under this big top part of the scoop. And then just kind of set it to the back like this for now. And then these panels here are going to come down. They're going to peg into these big green sections. This part just on this side, you're going to lift up on this, bring this whole panel down. This little window part will flip in, and then you're going to kind of, so pull it off to the side. It'll unplug from this center portion here, and then we're going to kind of bring this out and just flip all that back in together, kind of like this. It's going to unpeg from all these different spots. And now it's just kind of a mess, but we'll sort it out. So these parts here will unplug and the whole thing will come down. These parts you're going to pull out like so. And then each side of the torso is going to swing up and then plug back in to either side like that. And then we're going to go ahead and just lift the head up, and then all of this will just peg back together in all these different places. And then this was like this. You want to take that post and put it into that hole like that. And then the purple part will just close up. Now for the arms. So it's like this. What you want to do is open this section with this green part attached. Swing this whole section out like this. This part will swing in and peg in to here. And then this will come back in like this, peg into the side, and then the wheel will kind of pivot back like that. I like how they did those shoulders. That's pretty cool. And then you just rotate the arm around. Gonna open up this panel, bring the hand out, close the panel back up. And there's one of the arms. Same thing over here. Completely open all this up, bring that back around, bring that back around, and then close that back. Then rotate that around, open up the fist, close back up. And now this whole section will just kind of rock back, collapse down. And then this back panel here will just push up against the back. And then basically these parts you're just gonna want to lift up off of these pegs on either side. Just kind of get them out of the way. And then these panels here will flip in. And you need to kind of position this thing in the way that you want it, because these two little hooks are going to go into these little holes on either side, like this and like that, kind of locking the whole backpack in place. And you can kind of just move these however you want. And then more or less, there he is. There's Long Haul. Really like that transformation. It's actually a lot of fun. Just like the other ones. It's simple, but it's intuitive. It's you would think that it would be more complex than what it is just because of the design, but it really isn't. It's not bad at all. Yeah, there he is all around, and he's a big, chunky boy. He's got big, thick legs, but he looks pretty damn good. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of on him is the head sculpt. I don't like how the top part here kind of like angles downwards. It almost looks like he's wearing like a bonnet or something to me. But it's okay. I don't have batteries installed in this one, so I can't show the light up eyes, but the eyes do light up. But it unfortunately does lead to him having dead eyes in in robot mode. He does have plenty of like little warning labels and tampo stickers just like all over the place on him. He's just very beautifully painted. All around just a really good looking figure. I've been really liking these guys so far. You can of course have him hold his big axe. You just kind of, squeeze it into his hand. He can hold that however you want. His big gun here, you can plug it into the side of his arm in a couple of different ways. You can plug it in down here if you want to. You can of course have him hold it just by opening his hands, and there is a little peg that you can put it on so he can hold it just fine. So yeah, you can do all of that. But let's go over articulation real quick. So for the head, it is on a ball joint, so you can get side to side quite a bit, up and down a little bit, and it can rotate all the way around. Good stuff. He does have just a little kind of butterfly joint here in the shoulder, but it's like not much. It's just enough to get forwards and back. Come on, camera. His shoulder does get out a little over 90 degrees. Nice ratchet. And it can rotate all the way around, though the shoulder does like to pop off a little bit. Very nice ratchets. He does rotate above the purple part all the way around. He does have a double jointed elbow. I don't know why that keeps popping off. Double jointed elbow, which gets you 90 degrees or 180 degrees, which is great. He does rotate at the wrist all the way around. No wobble. Oh, I didn't even have that on camera. It does rotate all around. You have the thumb is on a ball joint, and then there is a pin right above that ball joint. and then 2 additional joints here for the thumb, so you can move those around. He does have the 3 fingers attached, 1 finger separate, so it can bend here and here and here on the 3, and then the pointer finger / trigger finger you can move around, so it's all pins, which isn't too bad. He does have an ab crunch, a heck of an ab crunch actually. And you can bend backwards a little bit, forwards quite a lot. Rotate at the waist, which is ratcheted surprisingly. The hips, so we have the front skirts here that are on ball joints, so you can move those around and out of the way however you like. The hips, get everything out of the way because they're big old thighs. So about that far forwards. They are very strong ratchets just because obviously these are going to be Devastator's hips too. And they can go not very far back at all, unfortunately. But you can get all the way out, which is nice. So you have very strong hip ratchets. You can rotate above the knee all the way around. And he does have a single jointed knee, which gets you a little over 90. As for the foot, nothing on the toe, but he does have an ankle rocker here in the front half of the foot, which should be enough. No toe tilt or anything though. But yeah, so decent amount of articulation. Very nice ratchets. I was going to also mention he does have die cast in him, I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly where it is, but he does have heft to him. Like he's a heavy boy, just like the other ones did. So yeah, so let me clean them up a little bit and we'll do some size comparisons. All right, so I don't really have too much to compare them to, but we have something. So how about, here he is with an MP Combaticon from Magic Square, and then here he is with Magic Square's Optimus as well. So he's a pretty big guy. And how about, what is this, G Creations IDW Optimus? And how about that Flame Toys knockoff RC? See how he looks with them. And of course, we have the other two that we've got so far. There he is with Scrapper and Hook. So yeah, they look really good together. So far, really liking this set. Cannot wait to get the other ones, to be honest. I'm really hyped up about these guys. All right, and that's going to do it for DreamStar Toys DST02-003 Load Warrior, or their long haul. Yeah, I love him. He's a really good figure. Solid recommend for me. He's solid. He's beautifully painted. Nice to mess with. Nice transformation. My only little gripes about him is, maybe he's pretty stylized. That's kind of, it's per person. I really like the stylization. I like the direction they went with him. The paint's really nice too on him, which is always a plus because these guys are, a little on the pricey side, but it's a damn good figure, to be honest. Lots of playability. I'm really looking forward to the other ones. The only other negatives that I can see with him is, so the dead eyes. He does suffer from dead eye syndrome, and because light up eye features. We've seen it before, how you can do painted eyes, but then also have them light up. This company unfortunately didn't do that, so it is what it is. The joints in the legs are extremely tight, but that's kind of a good thing actually, just because he's going to end up being, the base for holding up all the weight of the combiner. The waist section is kind of the most important part of that, so it's kind of good in a way that everything is tight. Other than that, just maybe like the design of how they did the rear wheels on the dump truck mode. That's really all that I can say that's negative about him. Everything else is pretty great about this figure, to be honest. Another good one, honestly. Seems like DreamStar Toys is kind of getting their shit together after that Superion, which is good. But yeah, so solid recommend from me. Cannot wait for the other members. But yeah, if you like the video, please, consider liking it. Subscribe to the channel, comment. If you like any of my reviews, please feel free to check out the playlist that is on my channel, showing all of my different figures and stuff that I've taken a look at. If you feel like supporting me, you can also become a member. There's not really any perks to becoming a member right now on YouTube. I'm still a pretty small channel, so if you want to do that, it's just kind of a way to support me, which I always really appreciate. If you feel like supporting me on Patreon, that is, of course, more for my Armored Core stuff and my 3D printing side of things, but it is another way to, of course, support me as a creator. But thank you so much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.